Good evening. I'm Byron Scott with the CTV News Update. The race to the White House continues tonight as we have yet to learn who will be the next president of the United States. Voters turned out in large numbers, but the race remains tight in a handful of battleground states, including Pennsylvania and Michigan, with most polls showing Biden with a decisive lead heading into the election day. Some people told us they were surprised to learn this morning that the race is still undecided.
Actually, I am. I'm really surprised that it's as close as it is. I figured that Biden would probably have his electoral votes by now. So I'm surprised that it's still going down so close, and it's taking so long.
I stayed up all night watching it, and it's just unbelievable to me what's going on. I don't know what to say.
Hey, I'm waiting for Joe Biden. That's it. I'd rather for him to be president, because at least he'll do something better for the country.
I take it that the man upstairs knows best. So if Trump wins, so be it.
Meantime, President Trump is calling for an end to the vote count in battleground states. A D.C. federal judge orders the U.S. Postal Service to conduct ballot sweeps to ensure ballot delivery is not delayed in key battleground states. U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan issued a midday order yesterday directing the Postal Service to sweep its processing facilities for ballots. Prior to Sullivan's ruling, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy had taken steps to cut hours from postal staff. Later, those steps were prohibited as a series of court orders took effect. The order applies to postal facilities in key swing states, including Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and Arizona. The election results are in it for the Prince George's County School Board, and an incumbent has been ousted. Educator Shayla Adams Stafford outpaced incumbent school board member Brian Swan in District 4. Keisha Butch tells us that Adams Stafford took in 66% of the vote.
There's a new Prince George's County School Board member. Shayla Adams Stafford has ousted incumbent Brian Swan. Swan was appointed to the school board in 2019 by County Executive Angela Ossobrooks, but he was defeated soundly by Adams Stafford, who took 66% of the vote. Recognized by the White House, she's taught overseas, has a master's in education, and founded a nonprofit called Remix Education. She says one of her goals for the rest of the school year is figuring out a plan to bring students back into the classroom.
How we're going to implement successfully hybrid learning, how we're going to support students with special needs, how we're going to recruit and retain teachers to ensure that we can have those small classroom sizes in a virtual and in a hybrid setting. So those are my priorities right now.
Adams Stafford also says she wants a better assessment of community needs.
The first thing I want to do is connect with parents, PTSA. I want to connect with teachers. I also want to connect with school leaders to really dig into what are the problems that they're facing and how I can support. And from there, I'd really like to work with the board on developing some strategic plans.
Another goal for the new school board member is improving teacher retention. This is Keisha Butts with CTV News.
There were 3 contested school board races yesterday in District 8. Incumbent Edwin Burrows easily defeated Gary Lee Falls. And in District 7, Kenneth Harris, a senior engineer at NASA, bested former pre-K teacher Alexis Branch. Voters approved a statewide referendum that will give lawmakers more of a say in Maryland's budget. Question 1 was supported by 75% of the voters. Currently, the General Assembly only has the power to decrease funds from the annual budget, the only state in the country to give carte blanche to the governor. The new constitutional amendment will allow lawmakers to increase, decrease, or shift money around and gives the governor a line-item veto. Senator Jim Rosapep sponsored that bill.
What's new is the legislature will be able to move money around. So this is a good example of a year. All of a sudden, health is a bigger deal than we thought it was. The budget was originally proposed. It would allow the legislature to move a little bit more money for health in a year when we have a health crisis, or alternatively, public safety or environmental crisis or whatever it may be, or simply priorities where there may be not the understanding in the governor's office of the particular needs of a Prince George's County, let's say. And so Prince George's County delegation would have a bigger voice in where money might go for transportation projects or schools or other things.
Now, this has tried to pass for quite a few years and decades, if I'm not mistaken. And what was different this year about having it pass?
Good question. I think it was to some extent, the new leadership in both houses of the legislature. It was just a higher priority for Bill Ferguson, our new Senate president, and for Adrian Jones, our new speaker.
Meantime, question 2 also passed with 66% of the electorate in favor. It will legalize sports gambling, a move that brings Maryland in line with neighboring states. Well, as Americans wait to learn the fate of the 2020 presidential election, the results of Maryland's congressional races are in. Locally, incumbent Anthony Brown retains his seat in the state's 4th congressional district. Brown defeated GOP challenger George McDermott, gaining 80.6% of the vote. Longtime Congressman Steny Hoyer of District 5 will hold on to his seat in the House. The Democrat and House Minority Whip received about 67% of the vote in defeating his Republican challenger. And it's extremely rare for a challenger to beat a sitting judge in an election, but that's exactly what happened in the county. Veteran criminal defense attorney Gladys Witherspoon has captured a circuit court judgeship in Prince George's County. It was only the 2nd time in 50 years that a non-incumbent candidate has won since Maryland instituted a vetting process for judicial appointments. Witherspoon was boosted by endorsements ranging from the Washington Post to Progressive Maryland. And voters approved 5 bond questions in Prince George's County. The approval gives the county the authority to issue bonds to finance improvements and renovations of public works and transportation facilities, county buildings, and library buildings. Well, another COVID-19 spike in Maryland. The health department is reporting 1,000 new cases over the last 24 hours. Meantime, the death toll continues to climb. Another 10 people have succumbed to the disease, increasing the state's fatalities to 4,025. Nearly 600 people are currently hospitalized with COVID. Well, some local historians and descendants of people buried in a former D.C. cemetery have come together for a project they are calling Restorative Justice. Columbia and Harmony Cemetery operated from 1859 to 1960. A portion of the land now houses the Rhode Island Avenue, Brentwood, Washington Metro Station. It contained the graves of 37,000 African Americans. In the late 1950s, the land was sold to a developer. The graves were dug up and taken to this location in Hyattsville, but while the bodies were moved, many without proper record keeping, the headstones were sold for scrap and discarded in the Potomac River in Virginia. Recently, an effort got underway to retrieve as many headstones as possible and create a list of the names and a memorial for all of those buried at Harmony.
And with the property owner and with the descendants like yourself, we're having this coming November 7th Descendants and Allies meeting. Every month we have a meeting for all people who want to be involved in the project to kind of work together to realize the best restorative justice solution we can.
For more information, go to projectharmonycemetery.com. Well, drive through a small town in Maryland and you'll likely come across a familiar scene, a main street lined with mom and pop stores. According to the Maryland Retailers Association, the state has about 5,000 small businesses located on streets named Main Street. When the pandemic hit, many of these shops were forced to close. Now many are back open with COVID-19 measures in place.
From social distancing, floor sneakers, to making sure that when you come in, you have a mask on, to taking temperature, to properly sanitizing surfaces, to sanitizing the things that consumers touch. There are extraordinary efforts that are going on behind the scenes when those stores open and close. It's so important to get out there and shop retail, walk those streets, go to those outdoor events where you can social distance and be safe, and you're welcome to come into the stores.
The American Red Cross is again urging people to donate blood. The organization, along with AABA and America's Blood Centers, say the national blood supply is critically low. There's great demand for all blood products, especially convalescent plasma and type O. The Red Cross says it needs help to respond to medical emergencies.
Regardless of where the emergency is, we're there on the ground responding, and we have to be able to react quickly. And that's why we need to make sure that our blood supply is up to par. And right now, it's even kill. We're just barely able to meet the demand, and the demand is ticking up from our local hospitals because of COVID, because of the flu.
Booth Bratton says they need diverse donors. To find out where you can donate, visit redcrossblood.org. Let's get a quick look now at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 45. Tomorrow and Friday, sunny with a high of 60 and a low of around 48 in the evening. Saturday, sunny with a high near 70 and low around 49. And now for the community calendar. This year has been a time of significant life changes, loss, and grief for many. Well, this year's 2020 Black Mental Wellness Conference will explore mental health in the Black community and the effects of the pandemic. Participants will be able to network and hear from psychologists and other experts. The virtual conference, From Thriving to Surviving, is November 7th from 12 to 5 p.m. To register, visit blackmentalwellness.com. And that's our news for tonight. I'm Byron Scott. Good night.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. That's PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
I moved to Florida with literally pennies in my pocket and a prayer. I needed a new start. Dacian looks like a very typical 3-year-old until you ask him, "What's your name? How old are you?" My son has a lot of behaviors that would show as being autistic. Most kids can tolerate a variety of foods, but unfortunately for Dacian, everything has to be organic and raw. I wasn't ashamed to go to the food pantries. It's expensive to eat healthy, and nutrition is very important to Dacian's health. The healthy organic food that we receive dramatically helped his social skills. Most people would say, she really doesn't have much of a life. But to me, I have everything right there next to me and my son.
I am what child hunger looks like in America. I am a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites me to a sleepover so I can have dinner. I am a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks during lunch so my friends won't know I don't have anything to eat. I am a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school just because I'm hungry. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger. Kids you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's gotta come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.